All right, guys, I gotta give this a shot. We have 10 days till Christmas Eve, which means we have 10 days until the World Junior Hockey Tournament starts. Not a World Junior team. I got my Team North America hat on. That was from the World Cup of Hockey. Nice little hat here. But I am repping my Team Canada jersey. I don't think it's any secret who I'm going to be cheering for at the World Juniors. The World Juniors is one of the most exciting international hockey tournaments to happen, and I'm going to break down every team that's in it from Austria to Canada. And today we are going to start with Team Sweden. So Team Sweden, they're already kind of facing some problems. Their coaching staff, they have an outbreak of COVID in their coaching staff, and it doesn't look like their head coach is going to be joining them for the tournament. So they're already shorthanded there, and that cannot be good for them as they are in a tough division with Russia, USA, and the Czech Republic, who always show up to play at these tournaments. So it'll be interesting to see how they can get that all together. However, they have won a medal in 5 of the last 10 championships, but they have not won gold since 2012. They did win bronze last year, and they were kind of led by Hoglander and Sandin. Sandin won defenseman of the tournament that year. Coming into this year, though, they have a plethora of young talent. Um, but it might not be enough because the other teams are looking really strong. We're going to break down the goaltending, the defense, and the offense. One thing Sweden does have going for them is they usually do really well in the round robin games. They might not be able to keep their 52 game winning streak alive this year as their division is filled with three very tough teams. They got Russia, USA, Czech Republic, and then they do have other teams in that division. They're just not as much of a challenge as those other teams will be. So let's take a look at the goaltending. So goaltending is kind of a no-brainer for the Swedes. They're going to go with Tampa Bay prospect and the 2020 tournament standout, Hugo Alnefelt. He played in all 6 of Sweden's tournament games last year, posting a 5-1-0 record with a goals against average of 2.12 and a save percentage of 921, which is pretty good for the World Juniors. You usually see a lower save percentage, but a 921 is nothing to scoff at. He's returning a year older, so he's definitely got more experience coming in, and the Swedes are really going to rely on their goaltending in this as they are losing some of their forwards and defense from last year. The backup, they don't really have someone they can rely on as much, but my guess is they're going to go with Wallstedt. He's an 18-year-old. He's currently 4-2-0 in the SHL with a goals against average of 1.93 and a save percentage of 924, which is pretty good for an 18-year-old in the SHL. He might see 1 or 2 games, but a majority of the games are going to go to the predicted starting goaltender. We'll see, though. It really depends how well their offense does, but Team Sweden is going to rely heavily on their goaltending in this tournament, and hopefully they can pull it together and the goaltending shows up for them like it did last year. So the Swedes, they always bring a solid defensive lineup to the tournament. That's always been a strength of theirs, is bringing good D. They will be missing Rasmus Sandin and Lundqvist this year. Sandin won the defenseman of the tournament last year, which is a huge accomplishment for him, but he's going to be busy playing over here and hopefully trying to make a camp for the Leafs. But they do have Broberg, Soderstrom, and Bjornfoot returning. I know I mispronounced that, but that's the closest we're going to get. They were drafted respectively 9th, 11th, and 22nd overall in the 2019 draft. So they have 3 really strong returning defensemen there, and that will probably round out their top 3. But let's take a look at who could possibly round out the next bottom 3. So they do have a number of options to round out the top 4, which will play along with the 3 mentioned players previously. Albert Jonsson, he's a Red Wings second rounder in 2019. A top prospect to the Red Wings, a solid start over in the SHL. He's looking good. I don't know if he will crack that top 4, but he would definitely be in the top 6 DB. I don't know if he'll play every game, but he is looking like a strong option for that top 4. Another option is Flyers second rounder Emil Andre. He is a short but tough defenseman who likes to play an offensive style. He's shown some promise. He will probably see a 5-6 role on this team, but I wouldn't be surprised if some games he slides into that 4 slot. But Team Sweden, they have a lot of options on this back end, and he is one of the strong contenders. Another one is Grans. He's a 6'3" defenseman. He's a right-handed shot, which would be perfect for that 4 slot for them as well. But again, he has 5-6 potential at this tournament. There's also one more option I want to talk about, and we'll get to him right now, which is William Wallander, who is a 6'4" defenseman. He's probably the best skater of the option, which could give him the edge to get that 4 spot to play alongside the other 3. But with this Swedish team, the top 3 they're a lock, but the bottom 3 it's wide open, and we're gonna see a battle in camp, and that's why we have the camps. And they're over in the bubble now, and the teams have been decided, but they do have to make the lineups for the games. and they still have until December 25th to decide who they want on that opening night lineup. But the Swedish team definitely comes into this with a lot of depth on the defense. So let's get to the forwards. The Swedes will be losing two of their top scorers from last year, in Sam Fagemo and Nils Hollander. They are too old to return to the tournament, which is just a hard fact you have to face when playing at the World Juniors. You can't return if you're too old, obviously, for obvious reasons. But they do have three returning players in Alex Holtz, Carl Henriksen, and Lucas Raymond. They play for, respectively, the Devils, the Rangers, and the Detroit Red Wings. They're going to be expected to do a bulk of the scoring this year, and hopefully they can do it and click. They will probably see first-line minutes and all play together. But yeah, they will be missing two of their top scorers from last year, so that scoring will need to be replaced. Two new faces who can make a splash in the tournament. You're going to have Holstrom and Gunler. They've proven themselves, and they're going to provide some offense on that second line for the Swedish team, probably joined by Nybeck. Keep an eye on that guy, though. He could see some third-line minutes to start the tournament and kind of work his way into that second line. But I think they do have a promising first and second line. Where it gets a little iffy is that bottom six, and that bottom six is probably going to look something kind of a mismatch of players because they have a lot of new faces coming into this tournament. You got some players who have never played in the World Juniors. Overall, on that front end, Sweden are going to rely heavily on that first and second line, and they're probably not going to get a lot of depth out of that depth of production out of that bottom six. But we'll see how they do. They definitely build their team around their defense and their goaltending. Up of Team Sweden. I'm going to make these quick because you don't want it. You want to watch the games, but this is just kind of a briefer to see how the teams kind of line up with each other. Sweden's coming into this with a young team, a lot of new players who have never seen World Junior action. They're building this team from their goaltending out, so they're going to have a really strong goaltender, really strong defense, but the forwards is definitely where they're not going to see as much strength. So you might see a lot of 1-0, 2-0, 3-2, 3-4 games coming out of this team. I think they will make it out of the round robin for sure, but where they might struggle is that medal round. A challenge for them is definitely going to be their head coach might not make it to the tournament. He's had some positive COVID tests, and he did not enter the bubble with the team. So they are without their normal head coach. They may be able to bring somebody in, maybe their U18 coach, but that's not looking likely. Daniel Alfredson was approached, but the IIHF said no to that. And they're also in a tough division. They're going to be playing Russia, Czech Republic, in the States. And that's not three teams to scoff at. So we'll see how they do. But I am predicting a 5th place finish for Sweden this year. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked it. It's my first time trying something like this. I am going to do the other 9 teams. All the way from, like I said, I'm going to do Austria, I'm going to do Canada, we're going to look at all the teams, and let's just have some fun doing this. If you have some suggestions, leave them down below, and I'm going to try and keep them quick and under 5 minutes, because you don't want to hear about players you've never heard of for 12 minutes, but you would probably like just kind of a quick recap of the team. So that's the goal of these videos, and the countdown to the World Juniors, which starts on Christmas Day. I am pumped up, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.